Hey everybody, Barrett here with Specca Tech. Welcome to the channel. Today's a video that normally wouldn't be all that exciting. It's about home theater chairs, but these chairs actually have me pretty excited to share with you guys. We're going to be talking about the Valencia Tuscany Ultimate with heat and ventilation. Now, obviously, given its name, the seats are heated and cooled, so I kind of give away the big secret right off the bat. But there is more to it, and they actually solved two huge problems that I have with my home theater, which we're going to get to later on in the video. But first, let's talk about these absolutely beautiful chairs that I am actually really excited about. But first, I want to be completely honest with you guys. Valencia did reach out to me and offered me a couple seats to review. But after they told me about these chairs, I was so excited about them that I wanted a row of 4. So I did purchase 2 seats with my own money at retail price. So I've decided that I'm going to approach this review as a customer and not as a reviewer. Yes, they did send me 2 chairs for review, but I purchased 2 chairs at retail price. So I am a customer, I'm a full paying customer, and I do expect a certain level of quality. I expect a certain level of service from them because I'm also a customer. The price of these chairs is $8,000 Canadian for a set of 2 or $5,200 US dollars for a set of 2. And I truly do believe that they offer a lot of features for that price. So let's talk about all the features of these beautiful Tuscany Ultimate heat and ventilation theater seats. First of all, because they are the Ultimate, they are wrapped completely in matte leather, which is 20,000 grain Napa leather. So every surface, the back, the front, the sides, absolutely everything is 100% genuine leather. Not only is it genuine leather, it is soft and it's supple. It's my favorite leather out of any of the Valencia chairs. In the past, I have owned several sets of Valencia chairs and I have done long-term reviews. If you guys want to see those videos, I'll link them in the top right-hand corner. And for the record, most of those chairs I did purchase with my own money. And out of all the Valencia seats that I've owned, the 20,000 Napa grain leather is my favorite, obviously because it is the highest quality leather that they offer, but it's just so soft to sit on. It's very cool. The bottom of the seat is perforated. The back of the seat is perforated. Now that in and of itself does help cool you off, but of course we're going to get to the other features about the heating and cooling, so it does help with that as well. But the leather itself just stays a little bit cooler, I find. I have owned other seats of theirs that don't have the perforated leather, and I do find that I get warmer on those seats versus a seat that does have perforated leather, even without the ventilation feature. Another thing I really like about the look is the clean back of these chairs. They do have a board that is, of course, wrapped in 20,000 Napa grain leather as well, that you can clip into the back of these chairs. That really gives them a nice clean look on the back. So if you have these in a media room or you have these in a living room where the back is going to be visible, it does look nice and clean. It doesn't look messy. There's not like an open area to the back of the seat or an open area to the mechanics of the seat. So it does have a nice clean look for those of you that are concerned about that. Now, besides being completely wrapped in 20,000 Napa grain leather, they do have a lot of other features like a power adjustable headrest, a power adjustable lumbar, and of course power recline. I really do like how Valencia does the headrest on these chairs. Now, in some other chairs, they do come forward, but they also lift up a little bit, so you kind of find your head drifting back because the headrest is also lifting up. Now on these chairs, they only come forward. So it's only going to adjust your head to lean your head forward, which really is helpful when you're reclined and you want to see your screen. It does adjust your head perfectly so that you can see your screen. Not only do I really like the adjustment of the headrest, but it's also very soft and very cushioned. I don't know if you can see, but when I press on it, it's nice and soft. It's almost like a pillow. So it is very comfortable. You don't find your head getting fatigued at all, or you don't find it getting uncomfortable because you're basically laying on a nice soft pillow. For those of you that may have lower back trouble, you're going to be pleased to know that the back of this seat is nice and soft. It is very cushioned, but that lumbar support is going to truly help as well. It's not something that I use aggressively. I do use a little bit of support for my lumbar, just for long movie watching. If your back is not supported, it is going to get a little bit sore, but the lumbar support does have a lot of adjustment from its default position to its raised position, so you should be able to find a position that is comfortable and is going to help your lower back. And then, of course, there's the power recline function, which I do find to recline a little bit faster than some of their other chairs, which leads me to believe there is a better motor in these chairs, given the fact that they are more expensive than a lot of their other chairs. I do feel like they give you more quality parts as well. Like I said, it does recline faster than some of the other chairs that I've had from Valencia. It is a wall hugger design, so it's not just going to lean back and just lean back straight. There is a pivot point to where it starts sliding forward to save space behind you. So you don't need a whole lot of space behind you to recline these chairs fully. To control all of these functions, you're going to find the controls on the inside of your right armrest. And if I'm being honest, I don't particularly care for this location for the controls. On my previous seats, the Monzas, the controls were around the cup holder, which I do prefer because they're a little bit easier to see. It's a little bit easier to find which button you're looking for. These you kind of just have to feel your way because they aren't backlit. which I believe they do so that if you're in a dark theater room, you're not having these lights that may be bothering your eyes. So I get why they don't have them backlit. I would prefer if they had an option for you to turn on a backlight or turn off a backlight, so that would be a little bit easier to see. But once you've played with them a little bit, your brain does the rest for you, and you pretty much memorize which rocker is which, and you know what you're pressing. But at the same time, it would be a little bit more convenient if they were on the top. The controls do look premium. I do believe they are made of metal, and they also have a USB Type-C charging port as well as a USB Type-A. So if you do want to plug your phone in or plug a tablet in this case I have a tablet holder here from Valencia with my tablet, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in a bit. But it's very convenient to have these USB ports so that you can charge your devices while you're sitting in the chair. There's also two other buttons on here that are very convenient and very handy, and I use them a lot. First of all is the home button, which just has an H on it. If you hold that button down, it's going to return the headrest, the lumbar support, and the recline all to its default position. So if you're done watching a movie and you want to sit back up, you just hold that button down and it's going to return everything to the default position. The home button also controls the LED lights of these chairs, so you do have LED lights around each cup holder and LED lights across the bottom of each seat. And a single press of this button will change the colors. There are 7 different colors to choose from. There's also a setting on there that cycles through each color pretty quickly. So to me, that's kind of like a demo mode. If you have somebody come in to check out your home theater, you can change it to the demo mode where it's going to cycle through the colors just to show them that I guess your seats have different colors. But mostly I just use a single color on these chairs. Typically I do like to use red or blue in my home theater. The other button that I find to be even more handy than the home button is the memory button. It has a little line on it. I don't know if it's an I or an L or just a line, but either way, if you hold that button down for a few seconds, you're going to hear a beep, and it's going to save the position of your seat. So if your headrest is out and your lumbar is up and you're reclined, it's going to save that exact position. So the next time that you sit on the seat, you hit that I button once, and it's going to go right back to that previous position that you had it saved in. And that's a feature that I use all the time. First thing I do when I sit down on this chair is press the I button. It's going to get me right into my comfortable position, and I really do like that feature. It is so handy. One thing to note here is that the memory button does not control whether your seat is heating or cooling. That is controlled with a completely different dial that's in the armrest. So all you do is lift the armrest, and then you have a dial here that has 3 different settings for heat and 3 different settings for cooling, and we're going to talk about it right now. In the beginning of this video, I'd mentioned that these seats had solved 2 major problems for me in my home theater, and it has everything to do with the heating and cooling. The heat function isn't something that I've used. I did turn it on just to see what it felt like, and it does get very warm, but it's something that my wife uses every time she comes down here, and on the highest setting, she finds that it actually gets a little bit too hot sometimes to warm her up. So it's good that they have the medium setting and the low setting as well. But for those of you out there like me that get very warm, or maybe you live in a warm climate, the ventilation feature on these chairs is absolutely amazing. I use it all the time, and it works very effectively. Just like the heat feature, you do have 3 different settings, low, medium, and high. And on high, you can feel the air moving out of this chair significantly. So it truly does make a difference with the perforated leather and the ventilation feature turned on. Especially when you turn it on high, you can really feel that breeze on your back and on your legs and your butt. It truly does work, guys, and it is a feature that I'm going to be using from here forward. Now, of course, it's not going to blow you off your chair. It's not going to be like a high pressure wind, but it does move quite a bit of wind, as you can see in this little clip here. I have it blowing around some Kleenex. And that brings us to the 2 problems that these chairs solved for me in my home theater. The first problem was getting my wife and kids to come down here and watch movies, because it's always a little bit cooler in this room than it is upstairs. Our thermostat is upstairs, so of course it's going to adjust the temperature based on the temperature upstairs, which heat does rise, so it's always going to be a little bit warmer upstairs than it is going to be down here. I'd say it's about 2 or 3 degrees Celsius cooler in this room than it is upstairs in the upper level. So now with these heated seats, my kids and my wife have no excuses not to come watch movies with me, and it truly does work, guys. My wife has actually come to watch a lot more movies down here with me than she previously would have if I didn't have these heated seats. So Valencia, I truly do want to thank you for putting heat in these seats. It has absolutely solved one of my biggest problems, which is having my kids and wife join me for movies down here. So I really can't thank you enough, because now I'm a lot less lonely watching movies down here. The second problem that it's solved is for me personally. I've always been warm-blooded. Sure, I probably would help if I lost a few pounds, but I've always been warm-blooded even when I was a lot thinner. It's just something in my system. I don't know what it is. I guess it's in my DNA, but I've always been warm. So when I don't have a seat that's at least perforated, I do get very warm, to the point where I have to change my clothing if I want to come watch a movie down here so I can be a lot more comfortable. Like I said, with the perforated leather, it does help a little bit, but with this ventilation, there's no need for me to go and change clothes anymore. I can wear what I want to wear and come sit in these chairs, and I know that I'm going to be comfortable regardless. Now, because the heating and cooling is controlled with a dial, I'm sure you have the same concern that I did. What if I forget to turn it off and I go away? sometimes you could be going out of town and you wouldn't want your chair to be heating or cooling for multiple days or multiple hours or possibly even multiple weeks if you're going on a long trip. So they did incorporate a very handy feature, which is an auto shut off. So I'm not sure, I haven't timed it, but I'd say after 20 to 30 minutes, these automatically do shut off. Whether it's heat or cooling, they automatically will shut either one of them off. So I'm really glad that Valencia thought ahead and incorporated that feature. Now, as much as I love the heating and cooling feature, it does come with one minor drawback, and I'd say it's a bit of a nitpick at this point, but you do have two power adapters, one to control all the other functions of the chair, and then one specifically for the heating and cooling. So each chair does require two outlets. Now for me, that's not really a big problem because I have a power bar behind my seats anyway, and it has plenty of plugs for each of these chairs. So that's not a problem for me, but for those of you out there that may have limited access to power outlets, it could be a problem. But again, if you do have one power outlet, you could always just plug in a power bar like I did and then use that for powering your chairs. But in my honest opinion, that is a very small price to pay for how much more comfortable we are now in our home theater chairs with the heating and cooling. I'll remind you what I stated earlier, and that's that these chairs have a lot of features for the price. You have the power headrest adjust, the power recline, power lumbar support, heated and cooled seats. You have the home button function, the memory function. You have USB Type-C charging, USB Type-A charging. You also have the LED lights around the cup holders and the bottom of the seats that change colors. Now that does seem like quite a bit, but there's still more to cover. The next feature that I want to talk about is something that I use quite a bit, and that's the storage in the armrests. As you can see, you can just lift each one of the armrests. It has a gas shock. It lifts very smooth and very nice. But they are quite deep and they're quite big, so I store things like my Xbox headset, my Xbox controller. Sometimes I store some of my remotes in there. You can also store some of the attachments that you can use on these Valencia chairs, which I'm going to show you in just a second. I have some of them here to show you, but it's really handy to have that storage in each one of these armrests. The last feature that I want to talk about is something that's very handy, and it's something that I use quite a bit personally, and that's the metal mechanism that's used to insert some of the attachments that Valencia offers. I have several of the attachments that Valencia offers that I use for myself quite often, or my wife uses them. The first attachment that I want to cover is something that we use quite often, and that's this wine glass holder right here. We have 3 of these in case company also wants to have a glass of wine down here, but the cup holders themselves don't always work for the base of a wine glass, so this wine glass holder right here is absolute miracle, so that you can put your wine glass in there, and it does actually help you from not spilling as well. The way it holds it, the way you can grab it, it's a little bit easier and it's a little less cumbersome than putting it in the cup holder itself. The other attachment that I use quite often is the table tray. So this metal pole just inserts into the metal mechanism in the chair, and then you have a nice table tray that you can set anything down on. Often if I'm doing measurements or if I'm doing calibration with my home theater, I'll put my laptop on here. So it's just a nice surface to work off of if you do want to do things like that. Now the new table trays actually look a little bit nicer in my opinion than the previous version. I'll show you the difference here on the screen, but the new version is a little bit more matte. It's not so glossy like the previous one, and I do like the look of it. It looks a little bit more like real carbon fiber than the previous version. So if you guys do have the old version or the glossy version of the table tray, just so you know, Valencia is offering this new version or updated version of the table tray, which I believe looks nicer. It's got a darker color to it. It's not quite as light as the previous one, and it does look a little bit more like real carbon fiber, and I like the matte finish. The other attachment that I've been using quite a bit lately is the tablet holder. So again, this little metal pole just inserts into that metal mechanism on the chair, and it holds your tablet. You can adjust it up and down tilt. You can adjust it by turning it like so. And if this is too far from you, mounted like this, then you can take this screw out of the back and flip this part over and insert it in here, and then put the screw on this side, which would bring your tablet closer to you by mounting it right here. So it does flip the tablet on this side, so it does bring it closer to your face for those of you that may struggle to see your tablet if it's a little bit further away. So that's something I found that was quite handy as well. But I've been using this tablet now to control my home theater using the Sofa Baton remote, which I'm going to do a video about in the very near future here. But this has been an absolute miracle for me. I have so many remotes, and this has replaced all of them. I can now just use my tablet. It's very quick. It's very convenient. But this tablet holder, fantastic from Valencia. It looks very nice. It's very well built. It's very sturdy. This is all solid metal. There is some plastic in the actual mechanism for adjusting, and you just have this spring-loaded little holder that holds your tablet. So it should hold a pretty big tablet. This is my Samsung S8 Plus, I believe, which is a 12.3-inch screen, I think. So it does hold a very large tablet, so I wouldn't imagine you'd have any trouble with an iPad as well. And I like the fact that you can turn it either in portrait or landscape mode, depending on which app you're using on the tablet itself. And again, you just insert it in there. It works great. You can spin it around. in the mechanism as well, so that's handy if you want to tilt it towards yourself. The last attachment that I want to talk about doesn't actually attach to the metal mechanism that's built into the chair. It's actually an insertable armrest. So for those of you out there that might have a love seat, you just basically have a seam in between those two seats. Now let's say for instance there's one piece of popcorn left, which Valencia does actually offer a popcorn bowl that inserts into this mechanism. I don't have those because I don't really need them, I just use a plastic bowl. But let's say there's only one piece of popcorn left in that plastic bowl and your wife takes it. Who does she think she is? How dare she take that popcorn? So maybe now you don't want her sitting so close to you in that love seat after she brazenly took that last piece of popcorn. Well, now you just take out old Trusty here and you insert it in that seam between those two chairs, and now you got an armrest to protect you from that crazy woman who took that last piece of popcorn. Not only does it offer a nice protective barrier between you and that crazy lady that just ate that last piece of popcorn, it also has a nice little storage that you can put your remotes in or put your controller in. And it has a cup holder in and of itself so that you can put a cup of something in there, or you can maybe put some more popcorn that she can't touch in there. And it is removable as well so that you can easily clean that and then you can just put it back in. So this is something that's going to be really handy for those of you out there that have a love seat. Now, of course, I'm just joking. You don't want to put a barrier between you and your wife, but maybe you're playing some gaming and you want to rest your elbow so that you can have a little bit more accurate shot against those aliens. Well, this is something that's going to help you out. And I like the fact that they did incorporate the storage and the cup holder as well. So it's very handy to have for those that have a love seat. So now we finally covered all of the features of these chairs. Like I said, they do offer quite a bit. I know there's some of you out there that are going to be wondering about the reliability or the durability of these chairs. I can't speak on that for these chairs specifically, but I have had other Valencia chairs in my home theater for, I believe there's a set that was almost 2 years, but at least a year and a half. And I did do a 1.5 year review on them and how they held up after a 1.5 years. And I'll link that in the top right hand corner of this video. But all of my previous Valencia seats, I haven't even had so much as one LED light burn out. So for my personal experience from Valencia chairs, I have no doubt that these chairs are going to hold up quite well, just like the ones that I've owned in the past. Now, of course, what good is a chair with all those features if it's not comfortable? For me personally, I'm a bit of a heavier guy, as you can see. I've found these chairs to be very comfortable, including all of my past Valencia chairs, to be honest. These chairs are, I would say, the most comfortable from what I've had. I do find them to be a little bit softer in some areas. As you can see from these videos, I don't have to press very hard to get some cushion out of these chairs. The headrests themselves are a lot softer and a lot more plush than some of their other chairs. So I do like the headrest on these chairs because I do find them to be more comfortable than some of the other ones. Not that the other ones aren't comfortable, but these are just more comfortable because they're a little softer and they do support your head a little bit more in the upright position, I guess, because they do lean only forwards. They don't go up and forwards like some of the other headrests that they have. So these are my preference for the best headrests that Valencia offers, in my opinion. The chair cushioning itself is, I'd say, kind of like the Goldilocks. It is a little bit firm, but it's also a little bit soft. It's kind of in between, so I do find it to be very comfortable, even for a heavier guy like me. I've never had my wife complain either, or my kids complain after watching a 2 or 3 hour long movie. They never complained about being uncomfortable or being too stiff. So I do find these chairs to be comfortable overall. Are they going to be perfect for everybody? Well, no, of course not. Nothing is ever perfect for everybody. So I'm sure there's people out there that might find them a little bit too stiff, or there's some that might find them a little bit too soft. It's very hard to get a chair perfect for everybody. It's, I wouldn't say very hard, it's actually impossible to get a chair that's going to be perfect for everybody. But I think that Valencia does a pretty good job here of being the Goldilocks. They're kind of in between, so they're trying to cater to everybody. But again, of course, it's never going to be perfect. Another thing I want to point out is, again, I'm a heavier guy. And in the past, I have had Valencia chairs for a lengthy period of time. And I never found that my chair got any softer, or it never changed the form of the cushioning because I'm the one that uses these chairs the most. I use them quite a bit, especially when I'm preparing for YouTube videos, watching movies, playing games, whatever it might be. This chair does get used the most. And I never found that it changed its form versus the other chairs that didn't get used as much. So I do think that they have a durable cushioning in them. I believe that Valencia has some special term for the cushioning that they're used, but special terms don't mean anything. That's just marketing. From my personal experience, I think that they do use quality cushioning because I'm a heavier guy and it didn't affect the cushioning. I also find the leather to be nice and soft and very comfortable as well. I like the matte finish on this leather. I don't find that I stick to it as easily. So in summertime, if you're sweating and you have your arm on it, or you're wearing shorts and your leg is on the leather, if you have like a glossy leather, you're going to stick to it a lot more and you're going to have to peel yourself off of the leather if you're sweating a little bit. Whereas this leather doesn't suffer from that problem nearly as bad. Now, of course, you are going to stick to it maybe a little bit if you're sweating, but it's not the same as if you're having like a glossier or a different finish of leather. This matte 20,000 grain leather isn't as bad for that aspect. If you guys are interested in checking out these chairs for yourself, I've dropped links down in the description below. Please do consider using my links. It doesn't cost you guys anything. It's not going to cost you anything extra, but it does help out the channel with a small commission. I do reinvest most of what I make from the affiliate links and from YouTube back into other gear so that I can review it and share it with all of you guys. So it truly does help out the channel, and I really do appreciate it when you guys use them. And make sure that you guys stay tuned on the channel for the long-term reviews. I do try to do like a 1 year or even a 1.5 or 2 year review when I do have these chairs, depending on how long I'm going to have them. So to stay tuned for that, make sure you subscribe and tick the bell icon if you do. Please take just one short second to hit that like button. I always do appreciate it. Remember to enjoy your systems from the comfort of a good chair. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.